Starting off today, fellas, do we begin with the move in Jacksonville or the move in Minnesota?
Let's talk about the one in Jacksonville, get it over with, because this guy won't be on the field.
So the Jaguars are a team that we talked about ad nauseum, needing a wide receiver number one, a go-getter on the boundary. And what did they do? On November 1st, I guess that was Tuesday, they go in and get the Falcons' Calvin Ridley, who was suspended for all of the season for betting on a game against the Jaguars last year. And in return, the Falcons are giving up a draft pick that initially is a fifth rounder in 2023. But if Calvin Ridley passes his physical, he extends with the team, it can become a 2023 second round pick. BCAP, you're a big Trevor Lawrence guy, and so are you, Justin. You know what, Jerry, I'm going to head off of you first. You're the big Jaguars guy here. What do you grade this Calvin Ridley trade? And even though Calvin's not going to play this year for the Jags, how big of an impact does this make for Trev?
Letter grade, I guess I'd say a B, for the simple fact that, one, he's not on the field, so he's not going to make that instant impact. On the other side, Atlanta may potentially get a second round pick, which is great for them. But we talked about TLaw, and I remember in the beginning of the season saying how I wanted Odell going to Jacksonville, because why not? This guy he'd be the number one instantly, get force fed those targets, and I guess brainwash everybody that he's really still a number one wide receiver. But now you get Calvin Ridley, who before the suspension, he was Atlanta's number one receiver. He was putting up big numbers. He was an absolute stud. I'm kind of mad that he's not in New England right now, but for TLaw, this is a great pickup because they already have a young core at the receiver spot. I love Christian Kirk. I like Zay Jones, and I mean, while Marvin Jones Jr. he's older now. If he's still in the fold by next year, you couple that with Calvin Ridley, that's a dangerous offense right there. So I think this is exactly what you want to see from a franchise, especially Jacksonville, investing in their quarterback. You want this from every team. And remember, it seems to me that every third year for one of these quarterbacks, you're getting them a number one wide receiver. And now that remains to be true. So going into his third year, he'll have Calvin Ridley and maybe even more. I like it.
I'm going to go with the A. And I'm going to go with the A because before did he get injured that year that he played 5 games, or was that the suspension? I can't remember. But so he's going to take a year off. He's going to be much healthier, not a whole year of wear and tear on his body. And before that, 143 targets, 90 receptions, 1,374 yards and 9 TDs. And he only played 15 games, so he would have had another game on top of that. I love it for Trevor Lawrence. He's finally got his true number one wide receiver, which he has been sorely lacking for his first 2 years as a quarterback in the NFL. I love this move so much. I echo Justin's sentiments. I tweeted about it that, maximum it could be worth a second round pick, and New England could have had him. But you know what? I'm looking forward with New England, so I'm on to next year, so it doesn't really matter. But for Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, love it. I think next year they're going to be even better. I know they've lost 4 or 5 straight now, and people can hype that up all they want. All the Jaguars are collapsing, whatever. Trevor Lawrence isn't going to be the guy, whatever. Blah blah blah. Listen, I'm not going to put too much stock into the season. Like, yes, I did say they could make it to the playoffs, or they'd be the second best team in this division, which it looks like they're going to be the second best team in this division. So this season, fine. Next year, I'm locked and loaded. I think the Jaguars are going to be arguing with the Titans, maybe the Colts if they get that quarterback situation figured out, and the offensive line. Jaguars are going to be right there vying for that number one place in the AFC South next year.
I
got a question for the two of you guys. I'm sorry about that, John. Is Trevor Lawrence the best quarterback in the AFC South?
I'd take him over Ryan Tannehill.
Outside of the red zone, he is.
Okay, I was just thinking about it while Brandon was talking. It was just like, he just might be. I don't know. I'd go with Tannehill. I'd take Lawrence over Tannehill.
They're all in the same tier between those two. Not Davis Mills, it's those two, because Matt Ryan's benched. The other move with this, their part of this trade is he's only going to be making $11 million next year. For a low-end wide receiver number one, you're typically in Jacksonville going to have to overpay for these receivers. We saw that with Christian Kirk. But given what the market is, Calvin Ridley was a first-round pedigree, and he lived up to that, averaging, 91 yards per game in his third season. What that leads us to is the sponsor of this show, InvestAmp. If you're into sports betting, the most important thing is knowing the exact market. And there's no better way to do that than having multiple different sports books, because each sports book has different odds, some better than others. With the BetStamp app, all you have to do is download it, which is completely free in the App Store. And for each and every single sports book that you sign up with on your BetStamp account, you'll be able to see the best available odds on whatever platform it may be across all different sports. And the best part about it is it is entirely free. They also feature custom betting trackers and bet analysis tools so that you can do all of your accounting and betting in one single stop. And hey, if you want to make more money betting, there's no better way to do it. Make sure you bet like a pro with the BetStamp app and use our referral code at WiseGuys. That is WISEGUYS.